We'll hear from other legislators what's going on. So I'm just going to touch on two brief topics that maybe haven't made the paper yet. Three quick topics. One topic, or the first two topics, are regarding to our current superintendent of public instruction. You just heard from Don Wright. As we analyze what happened wrong in the last election, one of the things that sticks out is that the people are voting wrong. They don't know who to vote for, and they have a left-wing view of the world. Too many, particularly young people. And one of the reasons for that is we have a left-wing educational establishment. And until we address the left-wing educational establishment, we're going to have big problems. I want to point out two things, and maybe Don will win and maybe Don won't. But we have to be conscious of this and talk about it. This Thursday on the Joint Finance Committee, Tony Evers, current state superintendent of public instruction, spoke. And I questioned him about this program he's got, in which he's encouraging schools to educate people about white privilege and have them hold a little, whatever, one of these plastic things you hold around your wrist to remind yourself of your white privilege. Europe, of course, is falling apart. And when I read about what's wrong with Europe, one of the problems is their liberal education system for the last 30 or 40 years has been teaching European children that they should be embarrassed about their country, embarrassed about their heritage. You know? So the English children, rather than being proud to be England, Magna Carta and all, are embarrassed to be English. The French are embarrassed to be French. The Germans are embarrassed to be German. Of course, the reason they're doing this is they want Americans to be embarrassed to be American. And the fact that they are pushing in our schools the idea that at least white children, which are the majority of children still in this country, should be embarrassed to be white. What they're doing is they're saying you should be embarrassed to be American. And we have to be on the ball for this sort of thing as it creeps into our schools. And we should not let Tony Evers get away with this and back off and pretend that, oh, this is no big deal. He knows he's done something wrong, by the way, because he is erasing stuff from his website, or was erasing stuff after he brought this up on Thursday. So we know he did something wrong. That's the first dumb thing he's doing. The second dumb thing he's doing is he's nominating a woman to be head of something called the Education Standards Board, who is a disciple of Michael Foucault. You probably don't know who Michael Foucault is. I happened to read about Michael Foucault in an essay by David Horowitz. Michael Foucault is a left-wing, radical extremist as far out as you could get. So, of course, this is the type of person who Tony Evers nominates to be on the Educational Standards Board. Worse, you know what this woman does during her spare time when she's not on the Educational Standards Board? She's running the Education Department at UW-Whitewater. So we have our own little Bill Ayers here running the Education Department at UW-Whitewater. I say this because I think it's important that everybody be paying attention to what's going on in the schools with your children and grandchildren, because that is where I think we're going to lose our country. The final thing I'm going to say, which is a little nudge at my good buddy, Governor Walker, our universities are not our friends. And we have a budget out there in which David Ward, head of UW-Madison, said how great it was that Governor Walker was proposing a more positive budget for the universities than Governor Doyle. I don't think we want to give those people more people than we give Governor a more favorable budget than Governor Doyle gave them. And that is, of course, they define favorable as more money. In this budget, we are giving them a 6% upper in state taxpayer dollars each in the next 2 years. And after giving them a 6% upper, we're giving them the right to raise tuition however high they want, which they're saying it's not going to be too high, but historically the legislature says you can only raise tuition so much. Now, one of the great scandals we have in our country is these sleazy university administrators who are driving our kids so ridiculously in debt. And young people are entitled to be dumb. We hope they're not dumb, but young people always get degrees in communication arts and political science and this stuff. And the idea that they graduate from school, even a state school, and wind up 40 or 50 grand in debt is scandalous. We should not be raising the tuition so these administrators can give themselves another big raise or hire other administrators to do goofy things. So my personal goal in this budget will be to have a tuition freeze, because if we're going to give them a 6% upper each year, 6%? After what they did, you know how many of those people tried to recall Governor Walker? Probably about 90% of, why would you give us 6% up? I don't know. And then a tuition increase on top of, we should insist on freezing the tuition, not give them more money. But thank you for being here. I love the 4th District, because you are in the belly of the beast.